Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you today from the same spot President George W. Bush informed our nation that the United States military has begun strikes
against al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime.
We went to Afghanistan because of a horrific attack that happened 20 years ago. We delivered justice to bin Laden a decade ago.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
That was 10 years ago. Think about that.
We're going to stay until we have a deal or we have total victory.
I've learned the hard way. There was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces.
The Taliban is continuing its offensive across Afghanistan.
Taliban fighters have broken through the front line.
The Afghan army has collapsed. The central government has fallen.
Panic fills the air in Kabul.
President Biden said this is not going to be a Saigon. But guess what?
There's been an explosion outside Kabul airport.
170 Afghans killed.
13 American troops killed.
I stand squarely behind my decision. It's time to end America's longest war.
Is it a mistake?
I think it is, yeah, because I think the consequences are going to be unbelievably bad.
I must say that it's a moral defeat for the United States.
I think the president is right. Enough is enough.
What was all of this for? That has to be the question veterans are asking.
2 decades, more than $2 trillion, more than 6,000 American lives, more than 100,000 Afghan lives later, the bipartisan debacle that was the war in Afghanistan ended much like it began.
We made a lot of mistakes.
Now, the real story of what went wrong.
Before I go to my grave, I hope to have that question answered.
The mission.
Do you think the surge worked?
The mistakes.
I personally resented the war in Iraq.
The truth.
Corruption was one of the main reasons.
And the lies.
They just couldn't bring themselves to tell the truth.
I always loved physical fitness and being in the military. It was only probably after being in the military for a while that I realized that I would turn to physical fitness and things like biking, that was de facto mental health for me. To get on a bike and just turn yourself inside out and not think about anything else is a key component of staying sane and healthy. My name is Jason Dempsey. I was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. I was in Afghanistan for all of 2009, again in 2012 and 13, and then for a brief assessment visit in 2014. What makes the problem of assessing our failure in Afghanistan difficult is everyone can think they're doing their best. We all left with great write-ups and we got a pat on the back. We convinced ourselves that we were doing well, but we never held anybody accountable for, well, wait a minute. If everybody gets an A, but the overall effort's still an F, who do we hold accountable? It means it's super easy for political leaders to say, well, the military has this. Congress has shown decade after decade that they have no desire to own any kind of oversight of the way we're fighting. But there comes a point when the line between self-delusion and a lie is irrelevant if you're still pursuing something that doesn't make sense and you're inappropriately using the blood and treasure of the American people. We have to have these discussions, right? The lives of American soldiers, even if it's just a dozen, it's not a goddamn rounding error. Those are lives.
In this war.
So anyone who truly respects the military should absolutely be calling for a congressional hearing. Means that you are absolutely questioning the generals so that we don't replicate what we did in this war for the next one.
This is going in the right direction.